Hi, welcome to everyone. Thanks a lot for joining tonight. We're very happy to have with us Iswanto Hartono, one of the founding members of ruangrupa, an Indonesian collective based in Jakarta, started in 2000, and as I believe many of you know, the artistic director of the last Documenta 15. This conversation tonight is part of a program that Ladies Wit is co-running together with Dar Bellarj Foundation and Mahal Art Space called Undercurrents, which is a learning and training platform focusing on 4 different themes throughout 2 years. And at the moment we're working also together with the 4 colleagues and peers and various trainers and contributors around the notion and the practices of collective making and collective work. And so based on, of course, ruangrupa's practices and experience, but also all the experiences that we learned and shared at Documenta this summer, we thought of offering ourselves time to learn from ruangrupa together and share with our community here about their practice, but also we will try to keep this as a conversation, so it's going to be a moment open to questions and reflections around ruangrupa's practice, but also documenta if you feel this is important to discuss it, since we haven't had the time to share publicly around our own experience throughout the summer and throughout the last year and a half. So I leave you the floor, Iswanto. Iswanto is going to start introducing ruangrupa's history and modes of working first, and then we will move into a more open and fluid conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. Hello, everyone. Assalamualaikum, bonjour. And yeah, thank you for inviting me to be here. And on behalf of ruangrupa, I was so happy to be here with all of you and share some of the experience that we've had together already. But I will slice back a little bit to when we started and then how we come up until documenta, and just little correction. I'm not founding members, but I was joined actually in 2008, and yeah, ruangrupa was this was started in 2000, as Francisca say, and it was founded by 4 person. Ade is one of them, and only Ade is left with us now. The rest is separated, but we still work with some of them. And yeah, we initially we start in 2000 after the regime fall, the new order regime. If you know Indonesia, I mean, we have 2 regime. One is the old order when we start after we independence in 1945, and the regime was coup by the new order regime, which is in 1965, which is a bloody coup, and then there's a huge massacre at the time. Yes. And yeah, so this new regime was started in 65 until 98, so almost 32 years, and which is very oppressive, very totalitarian, and during that time, some of us, and I was already graduate from architecture school, I was teaching, and when all these demonstrations started, we always support the student, and the student movement was started in 96, and finally bring the end of the regime in 98. And and we started in 2000. So I think at the time it's very important for us because then we have freedoms, we have space to to speak, to gather in public even, and there are so many NGOs, so many artist collective was as well rising up in 99, 2000, 2001, and ruangrupa is one of them. And yeah, this is we started from a living room in 2000. I mean, I think it's almost similar, like you start with this Riyadh, the house, and we start with the house as well, because I think it's completely different from the West, where you have infrastructure for arts, culture, and so on. But normally, like, house is where a space where we can afford one other things, but as well which is available in the city. And we move from one house to another house, and I think where we can share a parallel experience. And yeah, this is where ruangrupa we have a few project and division where we started, and one of it is the Jakarta 32 degrees is actually a student forum. So it's we create. I mean, we did a project, a social project empowerment, mostly on through festival, workshops, and publication, and music festival. And so it's Jakarta was slightly different from other cities where we don't have such a strong art school. So we only have one institute at a time, Jakarta Art Institute, where most of the member was studied there. But like Ade was studied in Jogja, where it's considered as one of the best art school. And there is another one in Bandung, which is Jogja is different. Jakarta is very cosmopolitan, and we have very strong film, but fine art is very mediocre, very so-so. And Jogja, this is where Taring Badi and so on is really strong fine art techniques, whatever they are, locals, idioms, and Bandung is different because it's built by the Dutch, so it's very much Western. And we have another one in Bali actually, which is more commercial, tourist, and so on. So there are so many different, and in Jakarta we mostly, like, where we started. I think ruangrupa was very conscious that we are first of all, we are not an artist which is in Jogja. Most of the contemporary artists which is success and gain lots of attention and involved in very much commercial art scene as well is from Jogja and Bandung, and Jakarta is so we are is very okay. So we are really aware that we are not going to and we are not interested in that, and I think, and Ade as well, when he founded ruangrupa, it just he went to Rijks after the art institute in Jogja, and then he came back with awareness of networks, and collective is very important, and he started um, building, because he came from Jakarta actually. He was born there, he studied there until high school, but then so he came back to Jakarta and start meeting with students, with the rest of the members, which is now with us as well, Reza, Daniela, Indra, and with consciousness that we need a space, just actually a space for gather, to discuss, to exchange, and also with I think it's very consciousness of of because Jakarta is the capital and where all this politics and but as well economic center is really much exists. So with very much consciousness of dealing with how urban gentrification and social space which is exists in surrounding of the city. And yeah, Jakarta is so big. I mean, its population in 2000 maybe around 14, 12, 14, 15 millions, but now is almost 20 millions. So the city was expanding so huge, so big. So I think that's what most interested for us as well. So diverse because everyone wants to come from many parts of the islands, come to Jakarta to gain a better economic chances, studied and so on. So with this background, we are really want just to work, with the city, with the urban spaces, and we are not interested to work most with how to, like in Jogja, most of deal with techniques, whatever, fine arts and paintings, sculptures, and so we create those festival and publication. Jakarta, as I mentioned before, is a student festival. So this is one of the first festival for student, and it's stand for along almost 10 to 15 years. It was started in 2005, if I'm not wrong, and until 2015-16. And it's just, so we invite, it's open call for all students all over Indonesia, and it's not for art, but it's from many design, architecture, art, and visual communication, and even politics. You can apply for a project, and so it's kind of just really be aware of as well that student, they don't have a platform to gather to exchange, and Indonesia is very much centered in Java, in Jakarta. We have 14,000 islands, and it's spread out around the country, and everything during the regime is just centered in Java. So what we want to do with this platform, actually, to invite many students from outside the island as well, to be able to have a platform in the center. And the second is the journal that it's run. Farid is one of them, and with other members, RD, and so they invite many writers, scholars, researchers to in arts and artists to have a platform as well to share through a publication. And OK Video is multimedia and video and film, international video and film festival. And when we started, we have interested to develop, create a platform, especially in multimedia films, because 90s is not so much well developed, the multimedia art there. So we create an archival base along with festival, and it's open call as well. So it's for young artists. We invite the open call is international, so there are many international artists as well participate in this, and the curatorial process is always changed. So it's changed all the time through the years, and it's run as well around 15 years, and we have Ruru Gallery, which is mostly to support our ecosystem. So we change the curatorial sometimes, like let's say Amin or you. So it's really open curatorial process, and it's always uh, rolling circular from one to another, and with different subject, different themes, and as well it's also to keep a platform for all our members and ecosystem, so young artists, even students, have space to exhibit there. So this is non-commercial, and but sometimes it's happened as well. We sell the works for the artists to support them with a very cheap price, and we have Ruru Kids also, and we have Ruru Radio, which is it's online always since beginning, and we have Ruru Shop, which is selling all merchandise, whatever, or artworks from all the ecosystem, and we have Breakfast, which is still just until now it's running. It's still just last few weeks ago. They have we have another Breakfast which is just happened. So and in ruangrupa there are we have actually we don't have a fixed member, so I don't know exactly the numbers because it's come and go like like everyone here, let's say, and 80, 100, sometimes 50, but it's always come and go. New student coming, whatever. So it's keep on going all the time, and but we have several members, which is around 10 to 12, which we work closely as well since a long time. And yeah, like I'm one of them, and Ade, Reza, Sari, Acem, Daniela, Indra, Om Leo. And all of us was came from very different backgrounds, studied, some are not finished, some are finished, studied with many diverse. Andan studied politics, let's say, social, and Islamic studies because he was came from madrasah, and I studied architecture. Ade fine art. Reza is sound engineer. Indra is graphic design, so mix. And we are all as well have our own practices as an artist, and also to find to support our living. We work in many different backgrounds. So we are, in other words, I mean that we are not paid, let's say monthly or whatever. We're not salary based in Bangkok. So it's if we have invited, let's say we have certain amount of artist production, and we keep it some of it for ruangrupa for the next, but we have few bonus for the one who work, and it's always changed. Let's say from this 9, 10, 12 members is come and go. Sometimes we invite for biennale is me, Ade, Reza, the rest, and then some other times I'm not participating in. So it's always mix, come and go. And yeah, this is the first house where we started. So we so it's dealing same with here how uh, you convert domestic into public, and every day people come and go. It's always open, and this is at the same house, and where the living room actually, and yeah, we invite people gatherers. It's not so far off what happened here as well. It's in 2004, and this is in front of our space. In this is our last space before we move to another uh, space which is bigger. But this is the last house that we occupied, and we close the street sometimes, like Saturday, or when we had even this is a cinema in front of the space, like just out of it. we cross the street and we put a screen and we invite people from the neighborhoods just to come and watch the movie. And yes, this is we have. Sorry, I was forgot to mention that we have another. The last division is Art Lab, where I was part of it with Reza together. So this is where we we develop project inside the ruangrupa where we had, let's say, exhibition, whatever, or we invite to be participate in Biennale or even. So we always discuss in this lab, and and we produce as well research before when we are in ruangrupa consistently to be part of. Let's say there are so many which is implemented, but there are some just as a discussion knowledge base and a kind of embryo to rethink about what we want to do as well. And yeah, this is the space actually like we are now, and this is how we use the space for concert, exhibition, workshop, and as well for a workshop with kids. So this is the living room where our last space, and exactly like now we enter and just exactly this space. And yeah, this is the journal that we have. This is the first journal in 2002. It's very long time back, and this is our first 10 years anniversary. And at that time, we it's called decompression and expanding the space and the public. So at the time we have focus because we already we presented our one of our project. It's about networking, and we already start doing a mapping which we call fixer, or now in documenta it's become Lumbung Indonesia. So actually it was initiated in 2010, 2011. We start, there is the exhibition is in 2011, especially on that. But during our first anniversary, 10 years anniversary, we present this network of the whole Indonesian collective practices in many islands, and as well our international networks. So this space actually just specialized. We have 2-3 spaces, and this image is specialized where we show how we built a network after 10 years and what kind of project that we have gone through. And it's very important for us to be as a reflection point as well after 10 years then to rethink of what we going to do next. And we have a series of discussion, public discussion, talks, and also project with workshop and exhibition for young artists and students as well. And at the same time, actually, in 2011, we published this siasat, which it's a short tactical guide for artist-run initiative. So it is. I'll show you. Yeah, so it's a beta version. And it's never been it's always beta. You can download it for free, but this is our first quite important step as well when we realize actually after practicing for 10 years, then we put how we practice and how to survive. And this is, there are 80 pages actually about politics, culture, space and art collaboration, and there are quite a lot how we work, and yeah, so this is one of, of the most important step for us as a collective to rethinking together among us, and then put in the words. Do not trust any existing structure. Invent your own. Let's say so. We are. That's let's say, do not too much pay attention on the structure, but let the content define its structure. So yeah, maybe some of it are still relevant now, but some of it maybe not, because it's already 11 years passed away, and yeah, about everything. So even about conflict, about how we resolve with conflict, and it's overrated, yes, and about sustainability, and yeah, about the space, the shelter, and about the what you call it, if there is earthquakes, whatever this emergency in the social or political scope, whatever. So what will you do as a collective, and how you survive, and about budget, and so yes. So I can share with you the link, and it's for free, and yeah, so we are back here again. So, and another thing is that I mentioned before is about the fixer, the Lumbung Indonesia. This is the website which is finally published recently along with the documenta. Before we publish in a book, but yeah. So this is now we have in total 52 collectives, the whole Indonesia, among the islands, and then so we put maps. I think, of course, there are so much more than this in Indonesia exists, but at least this 52 is the one which we are work closely and related, and we have a project with them, and they invite us or we invite them. So we are networking together. We support each other, and yeah, some of them are as well in documenta, like Satiwangi and so on, and and I would like as well to give you a project how we initiate with. So it's related to what we do in the past 20 years. This is the one in Sao Paulo, and this, I think this is one of the first time that we invent spaces inside the biennale as well, and it's actually we create the maps of ruangrupa. That's how it. That's the house where we work, and we replace with another new structure, but then we curate as well as what you did as well in documenta. You invite. So this is we did it when we invite in Sao Paulo last in 2017 or 16, 14. Yeah, and on the large wall we put the maps of Sao Paulo. I think this is one of the project which we work with collective map for many years already, and then this is one of them that we put it back again in this even, and then we invite all the peoples to it's around 15 meters wide of glass, and we put all the maps of Sao Paulo, and people are participate, working, and tell stories, and everything that happened in the city in the walls. And this is another project in 2016 in IC Trinale. We create another a space, a school. It's called Rurukaku or Ruru School. And we work with kids, with students, and so we activated the space at the school. So this initiate project actually we discussed in 2010 after our first 10 years anniversary that it was initiated as Ruru Ruangrupa Institute at the time. So we just think we still use the word institute, which is it's never been published, but it's just inside among us that we discuss. We need to have a platform to share what we practice with others, and we applied on the project that we did. And this one is 2017, not so long ago. It's in the Pompidou, and again, then we activate the space for discussion, for it's kind of trajectory that so we invite many participants as well, and as well with which we are not been able to do is to invite the workers union inside the Pompidou to work together, because the Pompidou didn't allow us to do it, to work with the union. So we invite artists, and we always work with with artists in the city and so on. And this during the Sao Paulo, actually we work. Maybe we came back later, but we work a lot with artist collective there as well in Sao Paulo, and one of them is which we try to invite in for the documenta, but it's not happening. And this one is in 2017 in when we curated the Sonsbeek in Arnhem in Netherlands. So this is the first Ruru house, actually. It's called Ruru Huis, and it's a collaboration with Renat van Hoe. Is as you know, he is one of the artists, and he created the Ox Center in Documenta, and we collaborate with him to run this space. And but it's not survive. I think now it's because we don't have the space anymore, but it's survived for almost 2 years after the event, the Sonsbeek. And yeah, then this is the time actually when we invited. I think Ruangrupa was invited to run. We offered to run this 3 spaces warehouse in the middle of the city. The discussion started from 2015. One of the warehouses 1,000, so we have 3,000 square meters, and it's used by the DHL before as a packaging center, but now it's left over empty, and they approach us if we want to run the space. And this is we realized that it is too much to run this, because we always just in a house, and then we think that okay, then if we would run it, then we should start thinking with others how to survive together. So that's where in 2015 where we start to talk and initiate a collective of collectives. So we work together. We invite our friends, collective friends, with work with us for long. Is one of them is Serum and Grabisuruara. So there are other 2 other collective which and they are agree that okay, then how to run the space and how to manage the space and how to sustain together inside the space. And then we take the offer, we take the chance, and actually we use the just one of the block, and because it's too much even for us, for three of us, is too big, and we start thinking how to gain as well economic as a part of sustain. So we rent it, we partially chop the spaces, we put some containers inside, and then we rent it to offer it to other artists, because in Jakarta we don't have a space for the artists, and this is one of the first that there are artists, musician, architect, graphic designer. They come to rent the space for quite cheap, not so expensive, and so we create ecosystem there actually in 2000, and it survived 2015 till 2018. And this is where actually we are invited as well by the Jakarta Art Council to work as a part of the Jakarta Biennale. It's run for almost 20 years. It started in the 70s, but until the 12th, it was stopped for sometimes. So it's vacuum for many years, and then we are invited to be involved to start reviving this biennale. And yeah, then the first Jakarta Biennale actually start and use this tree building. It's happened there, and this is how we use the space, and we start the good school here, which is not run yet as a school, but the embryo really start in this space, and we don't have, like, at the moment at the time we don't have a class, and we still thinking we are really quite not sure to invest more, because this is not us, and so and the owner actually is it's a state funding enterprise, and we think maybe it won't sustain. And it's happened because in 2018, actually, 2017, they asked already, when they know that the Biennale happened there, and it's become a hype, and the enterprise asked us, they increased the rent double, and we said no, because then it's not possible to. So we decided to leave the space, and yeah, so this is a part of the event during we live there. So we create this kind of bazaar is happened during the Ramadan. So like the whole city is live. I think here as well, people want to spend money to celebrate, and yeah, so this huge. We invite many artists, young artists, designer, home industries surrounding, and through our networks to use the space to run a circular economic model, and we create a garden together with a neighbor as well, and then in 2018, where we actually then we have to move because we cannot afford the space and we don't want to pay more, and it's not sustained. So we start to think of possibilities of having our own space. And after searching, we have found some plot which is quite, it's outside the city. It's completely different because the first one is really at the, you see where the high rise actually was located there, and this is on the south part of Jakarta. which is still a little bit village kind of settlements, mostly houses surrounding, and still very green. And there, the property price is not so high at the center, so we can't afford to have this. And then it's formerly a futsal building, and we converted into it's 750 square meters. And yeah, so, and if you see actually on the left side, this is so. Then there is where the good school is. We have a class, we have galleries, we have a workshop space, we have a living room, so everything is there. And we use everything that we have from the main building to build this inside. And on the left side, actually, we noticed that there is an empty plot, and we discussed with the owners, and he's agreed that because he don't know what to do with his land as well, so we discussed with Charles, okay, why don't we work together? We use your land, and we manage, we run it, and it's because it's just exactly what we have in the previous warehouse. So we put this container and woods, whatever. So we built a studio, small studio, and so we invite Isran for the artists. Actually, it's mostly our ecosystem who, who use the space, who rent. So we share the profit with the owners, and so this is one of how we survive as well, which is as a supporting system. And there are publication, there are as well architect office, graphic designer now, reciter, artist studio, and musician recording studio, and library, and yeah, this is the inside the good school. We use this as a gallery, we use this as a workshop, as a class, so it's always changed all the time. And this is where the part of the good school, but as well we call it good site, where the ecosystem, we have coffee shop, we have, yeah, so it's running. So it's kind of open space where young artists, they come, gather, discuss, and meet, and 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 we have, I will show you a bit, just jump. Yeah, this is where ruangrupa actually when we started. So how we work, we as an artist, so we artworks, spaces, public, critic, and education. But then this is where we start a collective of collectives. So and with good school, and we have rooks, and we have collective pot, uh, and we have art collective compound, which is there, the galleries, the library, the project, everything, kids, and it's there. And we have the educational good school. So this triangle is, so the rook is, we have a division which help us to sustain as well. So because we have so many ecosystems, so we share profits together. If we did projects, so like I'm back to, yeah. So rooks is we doing art direction, book design, conceptual, whatever. Yes, just all those. We do services, and to be able to sustain, to run the school, because in good school, I mean, if you go to website, of course there is some fee, but it's very cheap. And based on discussion, I think we have one course which is fully 1 year, and the other is 3 month short course. And it's always uh, discussion as well with students. So if you cannot afford, we can support as well. So so the circle is running there, and this division rooks, which is one of the supporting system to run and to support the student and school and the project. And yeah, this is the good school presentation, and yeah, this is what we did in good school. Actually, we have 11 subject. One is collective sustainability strategy, spatial practice, collective culture discourse, art laboratory, art collective study, collective practice intelligence, public relation, intermedia, knowledge garden, and workshop, and articulation and curation. So this 11 subject is our focus now in, in the school, in good school. And every year you can choose which one you want, or you can interlink which one each other. So it's kind of open course. It's not like a curriculum, but it's more, it's open, and we invite guests, residency as a lecturer as well. So you can do to interlink what we practice, but to bring your own as well practice, so to enrich this topic. And this will evolve as well. At the moment, until now, I think because we are not so old. I mean, we just started in 2018 and 19. Actually, we really run the space, and so 19, 20, 21. So it's just very it's just a baby still. So it's, and yeah, I mean, now a bit, then you know what we did previously, and this is, as you know, a rural house. So continue. I mean, in parallel thoughts of what we we built as well in rural huis in Sunspec. So, but I think with a different because within this process now we have a chance to nurturing the project for longer. In Suspect, we just have about a year and a half to prepare, and we don't stay there for longer. But like in Castle, we stay, I mean, more than 2 years there, so we can. I think the importance for us to have a space like Ruruhuis, Ruru House, and the things that we we implemented in many of our projects before is we realized that how we need a space to bridge the relation what we want to do. But here I think it's more important to act as a bridge for all the artists with the local ecosystem in Kassel. We came to the part of documenta now, actually, and then yeah, those kind of spaces, it's important for us always a kind of open space which is it's not, it's designed collectively as well, like in ruangrupa. I mean, everyone can just change, so this one is, for example, as well. So I mean, those traces are there, and this is where we start. Actually, this is the early sketch in ruangrupa that we did together. We collectively work with diagrams. Like this is the left one is from Ade. I did on the right side, and so we exchange thought, and this about we thinking about how deficit and surplus, and the the manet between the collective part and individual and the production, so and yeah, this is also initial sketch of diagrams where we thought this evolved. This is very early. How we built. Where is the artistic team, producer, project, and then the institutional, and what the model economy, intervention, poetic. I mean, placemaking, nomadic presentation, and so project substance. And this all are in circles, and this is the last harvest, actually, as you know, that it was in the guidebook. So we start thinking like a bamboo, and then so it's grown up, but then another bamboo shoot will come up with. So that's the initiation project, which will grown up again and act like a rhizome, that what we think about, and how the pot, and then so all many projects: Lumbung Press, Lumbung Gallery, Lumbung Land, and the local ecosystem translation and collective process, the castle ecosystem, how to sustain and grow beyond. And so I mean, we are not, when we invited in documenta, it's first we really discuss among us that do we want to do it or not. It's we know, but we never been. I mean, we know documenta is a big important in the world, whatever, but none of us ever come to see, only Farid as a student visit, but like we never especially come and see documenta, and we are not really related as well, because none of Indonesian artists was be in documenta since the first until the 15th. So it's like it's quite far for us, actually, because we are not even thinking to be invited by documenta and whatever, and we don't care, actually. But it's when it comes invitation, then it's oh fuck, what this is. We need to talk thing, and we just start good school about 2 years, and we just moved to our new space about a year, and we just enjoying, we have a space, we are really enjoying to build up things, to be in our own space after 21 years, and so the only thing makes sense for us to do it if we do it together with others, and we continue what we practice, because if we, let's say, we do other things, then this good school, whatever, will be left off for sure, because we know uh, we work with Jakarta Biennale and so on, and those extraction, the energy and so on. It's even the Biennale is not as big as Documenta, but it's take so much energy and attention from all of us. And then, so being in Documenta, I mean, then it's something that will affect us uh, in a very different way. So we decided to bring those supporting system that we practice uh, as a concept. So then I've been a bit. Then I will show you. Then this is what we propose, actually. Uh, so this first we discuss a lot about Lumbung, about cooperation, about, because at the time in Kuskul we just really have a lot of of talk and discussion how to build a cooperative uh, economic model for the all the members to be able to support each other, and at the same time, that's why we think that uh, then we have to offer this, only makes sense to offer this for the committee. So So that's this is a part of our proposal for the committee, and we talk about resources and lumbung. So we are not interested with the theme, but with a mechanism, and because something we have been and continuously experimenting within our own ecosystem. So this is what we are interested in. We are not interested with theme or whatever, or and we talk as well about that distribution model, and so about governance, about how can we work together, and about cooperation. So and lumbung as a model, and yeah, and ruangrupa as well as artistic and curatorial practice, and so we talk about mechanism actually that we offer to them about alternative education, economic sustainability, and it's kind of a lab and experimentation, of course, and that's why I mean, and on based on this, that's why I think so this is what maybe then you will know during our meetings, during our when you are involved. I think this is not everything is exactly that was implemented, but this is very initial because it was it's before the artistic team actually. This is really from all of us. So, and then when we invited for the next step and the next step, and I think for the presentation for the jury, and there is the question. Most of them is when they read this, then they say that you don't need exhibition actually. That, so where is the exhibition? I think they don't ask where is the art, but where is the exhibition, and you don't need the exhibition. It's just a mechanism of work and so on, and we explain, of course, because there is, since you saw in the first diagram that there is poetic articulation is there as well already. So I mean, we think about articulation, about curation, but in which they not realize that it's it's an exhibition. It's maybe they thought about the object or about because uh, uh, in collective practices we are not we are rarely. I mean, of course, we made artworks, we made all of us artists. I made installation, I made paintings, whatever. But the essence of being a collective practice is not that those object, no, but that's how actually we work together and how we exchange thought together to build a project. And this this gap, I think, is very persist at the beginning, and yeah, finally, I mean, when we are there, we are convinced them that we are uh, uh, that there will be a show. It's like uh, so we since beginning, I think we already mentioned that we are envisioning Documenta 15 to feel like a souk and or a market celebrating independence or Istiklal. I mean, in a large part for knowledge and ideas through showcase and exhibition and public education program, textual, intellectual publication, and to name a few of possible format. So rendering Documenta 15 as the first location to showcase and experiment with various sustainability models. So yeah, so that's where we came up, and of course, I mean, we interested with collective practice because, but it's not like it's a must that everything has to be collective for sure. But for us, like since 2010, when we start mapping all the collective practice in Indonesia, I think those network building is very important for us, and with this document, then we see a possibility or a chance even to enlarge those networks of the practices to work with other collectives and artists and to learn more from many parts of the world and yeah, of course, I mean, but we are not, we are aware of it. It's not politically that everything has to came from the what they mentioned with global south or with the third world, or we don't have such a mindset that you know that what media was writing is completely not, and yeah, this is just the timeline and so on, and, so and be back. And yeah, this is another harvest, and how actually it will flow beyond 2022 on the timeline, and yeah, I ended up with the latest within documenta 15, and I think it's maybe we can start thinking and discuss together maybe more discussion rather than I, because then it's more we can learn together, we can gain together. So, thank you, and I give it to. Yeah.
I've I would or we would first start asking around if there is any specific question, and if you need us to clarify some terms that maybe Iswanto mentioned and that we are very familiar with, but some of you might not uh, still don't get exactly what the lumbung is, or maybe the majlis or the collective thought, etc. So maybe first of all, is there other questions around what Iswanto has shared until now?
The proposal he talked about and some of the sketches. If you go to Lumbung Space website, you can download a lot of information shared on the internet. And it's worth it to read that proposal.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, my question, when you change the place, the place when you work, how you react with public, with your public?
In ruangrupa ya, in Jakarta, PP. Then we have to adapt every time to a new space for sure. I mean, because we move like really change neighborhood from the beginning, and we always is as simple as like I remember I used to eat in very like small alley, like just behind like this, and we have this alley, and there's a small we call it warung, a small a restaurant, like just for even not public one. No. So it's only for the neighborhood people who knows, because it's just like a house, and it's space like very small like this space, and so we most of our member eat there every day, and we have some are students, so we have benefit to sometimes they don't have money, so we can pay later. Let's say, I mean, we can just eat. So we have those kind of supporting system within the neighborhood. So it's negotiation part of the how we negotiate with the surrounding, and so we always and some are, of course, it changed as well, because some are, when we move, we lost as well. Some not members, but ecosystem. So people, student, whatever, who used to come, or people from the neighbors. And when we move to new pressing, new house, new area, then there is another one who come, but so we lost and gain, we lost and gain. So it's always like that, you know. So it's fine for us, but the one who continue with us as well, there are many who just follow us everywhere, and so it's very natural process that it's come and go.
Basic question, just about how you think articulation and curation, how do they like dialogue and mirror each other, and where and how do you bridge them?
Yeah, I think for us, that's why we always put this two together. I mean, because we are not consider because curation only, then it's very much structured. I mean, like, but articulation sometimes even you can do curation with only articulate. So this always, I mean, within our process is really like always come and go. I mean, uh, for us as well, I mean, the word curator and the profession of curator for Indonesian is very new actually. I mean, we don't have infrastructure, we don't have a school, we don't. So mostly, I know since 90s, 80s, almost all the Indonesian renowned name curator is not studied curatorial studies. And only recently in late 90s, almost 2000, there are where the young student, young artists who work with us, they start to, yeah, they went to Goldsmith, whatever. So, you know, so it's when it start become more Western curatorial process as we know. But almost all of us in ruangrupa, so we start the curatorial workshop in very early, actually, still 2004, 2005. We have a workshop. We invite young curators from Indonesia as well to discuss with us, and with the student as well. And so this kind of articulation, and as I mentioned to you, like in ruangrupa, we always just as simple as today, this week is Nadim, and another exhibition is Francesca, maybe you, Fatima, or Carlos, and others as well. So it's as simple as that, as you know. So it's kind of experiment as well, but it's practice. But so we define what are to be articulated in the exhibition and what to be curated together. So we rarely. Um, no, I think it's a circle more.
Okay.
Sometimes can come from curate to articulate, but sometimes can come from articulate to curate, because let's say when I become a curator for Nadir exhibition, let's say, but I don't, I never been curate a big show, whatever. So, but I'm start thinking from my own articulation from his, but let's say, so you know, I will write for him, so from my point of view and about his work, and and we work together with the artists. So it's not that you have to to bring this whatever. So always develop a project together with the artist. So from this very basic level, actually, we practice this within ourselves for years, and it's become everyday intake in ruangrupa. You know that, and we always joke that you are curate now or whatever. So you know, and yeah.
And how you thought and did the selection of collective?
How we did.
Yeah, how first you thought and then you did with the COVID of the selection of the collective all over the world.
Yeah, that's an interesting question as well. I try to remember. I mean, yeah, I mean, when we end first, I think when we end, maybe I a little bit setback again as well, because we are so during the very early initial stage of building those lumbung for the documenta. I mean, we are so very conscious to use or to change the terms. That why we use the word assembly, soak, and majelis, and which we commonly use as an Indonesian language, which is not original. It's apart from the Arabic for sure, and but it show how diverse actually our our where we begin and where we belongs to, and this is a political a standpoint which help us to face or to deal with very established white European institutions. So we realized that, and to use those uh, um, political um, uh, a standpoint. I mean, where we to deal with them, and the second, we when we already choose them, and then we talk, we decide, and then first how we, of course, we want to enlarge the curatorial process, not only ruangrupa, and we want to spread it out with others. And at the time we discussed, we made some parameters, almost the same with the lumbung artist parameters. There is 8 parameters, but for the artistic team, it's not that much. One is for sure we want to work with partners or friends that we know and we work for, so we know each other at least for quite some times, and humor, of course, that we don't want to work with people who didn't have humor, and and that's also applied for the artists, for the lumbung members, and we have sustainability, we have regeneration, we have locally anchored humors, and so this one of them, and so we build parameters, Carlos, for and we did the same again for the lumbung artists with those parameters that I mentioned, and yeah, based on this, I think we start looking and thinking and doing research. So it's spread out. There are 13 members of us, 14 of us, and then we divide it. And it's not that everyone is split up, but of course, like I think everyone has its own ecosystem already. Like Lara, they have known mostly well rooted in the the Arabic art scene and ecosystem and so on. And we are in Southeast Asia. We have so much root there, and with long partners that we work in South America and so on. And ruangrupa, since very beginning in 2000, actually, we are the member of Arts Collaboratory. So we already been there for 22 years, and yeah, we work with them a lot. And so those networks in Arts Collaboratory actually is, as you know as well, is persist there in the documenta, and they are even one of as the whole group is part of it. So yeah, that's how we do the selection with parameters that we think is important to work with. And of course, when it became to those parameters, for sure, I think it's artists and collective which is struggle a lot is the one which is very much have in parallel conjunction with those parameters. So it's not that. So all those artists, if you see this 76, 14 LUMBUNG members is majority, let's say, from the global south and the third world countries, but that's where, because of the parameters, is and of course there are a few from Europe and from Australia as well, and so it's of course, I think by itself it's explaining why it's because the struggle is one of the most important for us to learn each other, to know and to present those struggle of how artists. I think it was mentioned as well in I forgot it's in our wait. There is very important words which we mentioned in the concept. I think because we've written that we know documenta was built in 1955 to heal the wound of the post-war in Europe, but then we're just questioning them that if this platform as well can be as a space to nurture or to present the struggle of the post-colonial society as well. And then yeah, so those of how we process and how we works. And
throughout the whole presentation, you've talked about the whole collective. You've always used the word we, but my question is for you personally. How did it feel, or do you think that vision that you had when the idea was first conceived, was it achieved eventually? Or did it exceed your expectations? You've talked about how everything branched out from a collective to a collective of collectives. You've also mentioned a lot of periods. You mentioned the word struggle many times. We've also talked about a lot of periods when you couldn't afford a certain place, you had to move somewhere else. How did it feel when there was this period of stagnation, and what kept everything going? Because 2 decades is really not easy to keep a certain thing going on. And also being able to meet that many like-minded people and have it turn into something a lot bigger and go to different countries, different continents. How was that journey for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, to give back a bit as well. I mean, because we struggle not only how to move, whatever, but I think we realize, because in the beginning, for sure, we are supported and we are dependent by the funding from the biggest funding from the Western countries, and some of them mostly from the Dutch foundation as well. And but we are not. After 10 years, we realize as well that this is not sustained, and it's really up and down, and politically biased as well, and that's where actually our struggle start to really think how to sustain ourselves, and with many experiment that we did inside our ecosystem, how to do circular economic model, let's say, with which is as simple as we sell things whatever from our ecosystem, and we share profit, and we have a cooperation to support artists, let's say, if from our ecosystem want to have exhibition, and we give them this very small amount from those collective money to be able to have exhibition, to produce works, publication, let's say, small simple publication. So those kind of regeneration process and both struggle is matter to us. And when it comes to those Lumbung ideas for the documenta, I mean, sorry, this your question is that we are achieving those in this even or not, or
My question was to you personally. Did you think that the vision that you had initially was achieved? Did it exceed your expectations? Were there moments where you thought that everything was lost? Because you've been in the middle of it the whole time, according to what you've been saying. So that's...
to achieve, yes, I think. I mean, not a perfect now. Even now, maybe we gone through, I don't know, because this halfway, or we still keep rolling on, and we try to develop more model as well, and enlarge, because with the networks, I think we have a new challenge as well now with after documenta, let's say. So those challenges is following us always. I mean, I'm personally won't say that it's succeed or success, but we as a collective with others, we are at least happy now of what we achieve until now, and we try to fix now more, even in a better ways, you know. So it's I think it's more open-ended process. That's for us. So I cannot say that really fix I'm achieved, but it's much. I would say we renew it all the process all the time, you know. Yeah.
I am tempted to just probably turn the question in other words and ask where the healing comes from. When I look at the drawing and when I hear you, and I can only imagine how all these sites gain in intensity on each project and each situation, and you probably have lived like many situations. So simple question for this documenta, if you have now the distance and the retrospect to tell us where the healing came from.
Came from us, actually, not from them. So that's we know for sure since beginning. That's why I think it's important when we find a community or a collective, like, let's say, like now Legis with here, with the context of Marrakech and the Morocco and the Arab world, let's say, and others, serigrafistas with the queer in South America, in Argentina, and it's getting more. So we know that the institution won't help us for sure, and that's is clear from beginning, because even after that's we don't have any intention to even to change or to influence them, but we realized to use the platform to be able, because without documenta this Lumbung maybe might not happen. So we steal the moment. Actually, we realized that we have to steal this one moment for 100 days, but then afterwards is more important, that because then we will live and they will leave us, and we will leave them for sure. And it's because as we see now, they are back to really where they started. And and I think then we have to take care within each other. That's what we projected and what we think. So the healing is came from among us to support each other. So that's as simple as that as well, actually.
But does a system, ecosystem, artistic or social or both, and everything that integrates all the dimension, the human dimensions, does a system nurture its sustainability if it excludes an element? And I'm saying, like, does the institution exist still within the system of ruangrupa, even if for sure they had like different paths or perspective? Or what I'm trying to say is that when you work and when you think, does the institution exist in your realm or not? Or is it like punto y basta, this is over and now we're going back to an autonomy of thought?
You mean the context is documenta, or?
Yeah, from the context of documenta, but even like the position of the institution, whatever that means, within your thinking. Even if it's over, documenta, it's over. Like, I have the feeling positions are never binary, and even the excluded person or element still exists within the system because there's always like mechanisms of compensation, right?
Yes, the position which is important for us, how to look at the institution. I mean that's like where the initial state where we wrote in Siasat, and where don't trust the institution, then but you create your own. I mean, so that's how we try to look at every institution where we work with. So we never trust them, and we try to how to work with them within our own way, you know. So I mean, the institution will be institution whatever it is. I mean, as we discussed even yesterday, you know, that on the top, that yeah, so they will there and they will do whatever they want, and you know, so it's then how we actually and that's our position, and how we look into them, for them, and how we if we even if we want to work with them, then what kind of mechanism that we want to work. It has we think that it has to came from us. That's why we made this lumbung as a mechanism, is a way to work with them. So because if we make tema or theme, then it will it's completely different, you know. Then yes, then we will extract it by the institution, you know. But then when it become mechanism, then they have to follow the mechanism as well that we create. So let's say one example is, because after the 14 there are no public money can go outside the Germany, let's say in the case of Athens. So but we negotiate a lot, and the second is being in documenta for the previous youth is a little bit strange, because I just know as well, you don't, as an artist, you don't have artist fee. I mean, you have very small, like 3,000, 4,000, or 2,000. but you have unlimited production budget, which is very much capital and very much extractive. And what we negotiate with them based on those mechanisms is that, because during the pandemic, then we asked them to give us seed money for the artists and collective to support the local ecosystem, and yeah, we negotiate for a year, which is finally, and we try as well to give the artist fee, which is not so much, but it's same to all of, which is highest than before, and production money is not so big, but it's not so low, but it's, and everything is horizontally the same, and we are not interested because mostly they are supported with the art market surrounding the artists, with the galleries, with the capital funding, whatever. So some artists have more, some are less, and it's, let's learn. Let's say from the case of 14, this Parthenon of this Argentinian artist is like 1 million euros. So it's like compared to what we had is, you know, is very so. But some are only have 5,000, 10,000. So, but what we trying to where actually. So then we want to have 3 websites, which Documenta always have 1 website, and we negotiate for even more than a year as well, because which finally they are agreed to have it, and it's very uncommon for them, just about the imprint, let's say. But yeah, but we said it's important for us because we want to continue, and it's possible to build the Lumbung dot space. Let's say the rural house is using the money of Documenta, but it will be continue afterwards. You know? So it's sustained, and it has to be sustained by itself. So we use those changes to build the mechanism. Yeah, so they have to follow the mechanism. But this, after this finished, then they will be back to their own ways again. And I was meeting. I forgot. I met one scholars as well that he mentioned. There is a research in from Documenta since beginning, actually the first until maybe first is not, but start from the 5, 6 until the 14. There are around 10 or 11 galleries which is always there. So this gallery is still there since 20, 30, 40 years ago. So, you know, so it means a lot. I mean, how the capital is behind it, and yeah, this just changed artists, you know, so.
I'm curious a little bit about the political conditions that, I mean, it's really impressive to look at the map of collectives in Indonesia. So that you showed us earlier. So I'm curious about the political conditions that yield this number of collectives. I mean, I'm just extrapolating and thinking about the Moroccan context, where we're, you know, coming out of an autocratic state, the Hassan II state, and there's a lot of fear of political apathy, of individualism, and so this is kind of this atmosphere yields an art world that's very much defined by for-profit galleries, very traditional way of doing art, and nothing like what's coming out of Indonesia. So I'm wondering, are these collectives like ruangrupa or Taring Padi, are they coming from, I mean, I know they're coming from the street protests in the late 90s, but was the collective model, did it exist during the Suharto regime, or was there what were the seeds for this number of collectives to come out? How did it what were the conditions that allowed this number of collectives to exist?
Yeah, let's when let's say for the case of Taring Badi, let's say, I mean, they are even they formed, they started before ruangrupa, even few years before ruangrupa, and but they form like this is very specific because they form as which is conscious as a collective to fight against the regime at the time. So they support creating the banners, whatever, for protests, and that makes them so the awareness or the consciousness to be in collective is because of the political situation where, and it's completely maybe different from us ruangrupa. They are formed in Jogja, as I mentioned, with the background of the art school, and they are all came from almost from the same school, the Indonesian Art Institute, and so you can see as well the way they works when you go to Holland, but with all those archive and how they did it, which is very much strong, the artistic, where we in ruangrupa is completely and the city where they live, Jogja, where I came from actually is very small city, maybe like Marrakech is small, and Jakarta is completely is so big, so fast, so diverse, and with the as well I mentioned with the mediocre art school, so the form that we work, the awareness and the consciousness, I think is completely. So we are not interested to work like Taring Badi with making banners with very much. So if you see even the slide that I show you before, the ruangrupa works is very much we don't. I mean, we don't have we don't have works which you can consider as object or let's say paintings or whatever or installation. So it's kind of more modular or a tools, let's say, for social practice, for social design, and for communicate, and that's why the necessity. I mean, for us after the regime fall, because we don't fight the regime anymore when the regime already fall, but then we are the need for space to build up the consciousness to be able to have a social engaged art practices, let's say, and 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 that's what we do. That's we are trying to fill the gap in Indonesia in those with political education, with as curatorial writing, articulation, yeah, so festival, and so we. I don't know. Maybe as you say with Morocco, but in Indonesia, of course, the same because we have galleries, we have collectors, we have big art market capital as well in Indonesia, and many of young artists, many of also they are part of them, and but for ruangrupa, we really, I don't know why, but we really outside because we never sold works to not even single until now 22 years to the galleries in Indonesia, to the collectors in Indonesia, so none of them are buying our works, and only the whole span 20 years I think only one works of ruangrupa which is collected by after Asia Pacific Triennale we made installation was project with a kind of the similar, but there are a few objects which is structure modules which is collected by them. So that's the only works, and for the past 22 years, and the rest, yeah. So and we never have exhibition as well. I mean, solo exhibition in I think ruangrupa has only one in 2003. In Jogja, there's the only one ruangrupa has as a group, as a solo exhibition, and the rest we never exhibit it as a collective as well. We invite them and join the biennale, but we never, and we are not interested to have until now to have a like recollection or whatever exhibition in a museum or in the galleries. So yeah.
So essentially, the collectives on the map that you showed us, these emerged around the early 2000s, after the Suharto regime.
The maps of the you mean the artist collective?
Yes.
Some of them yes, some of them after, and but the one before the regime is, I think, not single is before the regime fall. I think only Taring Badi, I think, is one of the oldest and work to fight, and the rest is after for sure. I mean, because they are young and in 2010 when I mentioned about the first time we make a mapping, it's not 52, but it's I think 11 or 12, and it's growing up now. For the past 15 years, it's more, and yeah, so it's and there are some are just library for neighborhood, some are, so it's very mixed, very different practices as well, and some are become like Jatiwangi at West now is, I think, I don't know, 15 years, and yeah, they start after the, for sure, after the regime fall, and they become gradually, and they will start in the village, and so.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. It's super interesting. My question is about it's a question of funding, not the collective, but the actual question of your funding. You say that you rely on like big funding from Europe and all this kind of stuff, and I'm wondering what your process is in navigating the paradox of being funded by kind of maybe traditional structures and wanting to put non-traditional structures within those with that money. Like, what is the process? Do you have a process where you acclimatize maybe funding bodies to your ideas, or is it more just, yeah, I just wanted to know what the process is and how you do it, because it's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting, because that what actually that we discuss a lot in the Majelis as well. I mean, when we mention about Lumbung continue and the Lumbung second, let's say, this question as your question. I mean, then how this can politically and as well socially and structurally be organized with all the Lumbung members, let's say, and to be able to sustain together. And yeah, like when before we started with Lumbung in Documenta, I mean, we are not yet succeeded as well survive 100% from our own sustainability economic model. So we partially, as you say, we are trying to mix, to fill in the gap with what we can fill in, and try to reduce the one which we are not even, because we don't, which we think that we are not, we didn't want to work with them anymore politically, or ideally, so we start reducing this, but we start trying to increase what we can increase. Of course, it's never been in balance, and it's always, still you digging, you feel, so it's always still like running this all the time, and that's why we still struggle with this. But to be able to, to share this with all of you, and during the Majelis, the process of the Lumbung now in Documenta, then it's, I think the chances even more, bigger, because then we can, of course, then the source of the let's say the supporting system will be even enlarged, so, and if we, I believe if we can share this with each other, and the one who have more can give to one who have less, and this will, I think it can help us to sustain for longer period, let's say.
What do you think about this week in Gaza? The participation of this week?
I mean, from this is very hard question, but so easy for me, because for me, I mean, like personally, like I'm I'm very much. I mean, I really like, because I'm quite. I work with production, as you know, with all the artists, and I follow. That's what I did, and yeah, it was very interesting process. I mean, when we discussed, we build up about the exhibition and so on, and but I'm very gladly. I mean, when all of you decided as well, it just open the space and use the documenta as a platform to reflect of what you did for the past, I don't know, 9 years, almost 10 years, and not using it as for exposure, so using the moment to reflect for just for you, for what you did with your communities, with your, and to share it with others. I think that is the most important things. With I think is both poetically, but very nice, articulate, and and because that's what we and I experienced very well in the beginning when I started with Documenta, dealing with artists. So everyone, I still very much feel the competition between some of the artists, even fighting about space. So they are really fight to be able to present in the center. So they're not interested in the periphery, in the WH22, in the Hubner, in the Hafenstrasse. Everybody wants in the Frit and in the Documenta Halle. So those magnet, I mean, those problem which I am so, I mean, so those extraction has happened really, and artists really wants to compete to make a huge object installation, whatever, and I'm really enjoyed that you just. I mean, I remember when Leila first come that you want to make a cook, no? A recite, which it's nice. I like just cooking, and then. But it's developed, then it's more with show, exhibition, inviting, curating, and so on. But then it's like came back again, back to just doing nothing and just make furniture and open space, and with Carlos, the architect. Yeah, so I think this process is, but it's even for me. I learned a lot from all of you, from each artist, from each collective, to how they. That's why I know even the one who really wants to let's say compete and extract, but it took a month for them to gradually lower down their ambitious and their ambition and their budget is like never been enough, so it's you are keep on digging the money and while others like there's other artists which is, but it's interesting because I've just shared, I mean it's completely different. Like there's artists who never been exhibited in his life and it's not a part of the art world. Let's say like name Sorab, he's never been exhibited anywhere. He's just practiced as he's just a teacher, elementary school teacher, and he incidentally in London because of his wife is studied. So actually, if not, then he's just teaching elementary school in India, in the village, and so he's even yeah, he would like to share his production money with others. I mean, like, he don't keep his money, so he tries to give it to others. I mean, and he don't make a works even. So like, he helped Sumana make a works. He helped Rorukit make a work, but he's not intended and he's not interested to make his own installation. Let's say so, and yeah. So there are. I learned a lot. There are so many, and I believe it's for all of you as well. It's quite. I don't know. Maybe it's good to now to hear from you as well, because what you feel and what you experience a bit about, not just directly about the process of, because we discussed about the Lumbung and the possibility for the futures. I think it's more important to discuss not about what happened there, but I think how you look at it and what are you do you still have a way to look further of.
Just one thing short related to the artist that wanted to be the main museum in the main place in the city center. I don't know if it was from the beginning, but when you come inside to this main museum, the ground floor on the left, rural kids, on the right, go to school. Which means the main spaces of whole documenta were reserved for kids and for children.
And we done, when we do the curational process, the articulation, we don't cut the space, the area into cake, but we ask all of you to come and to choose the space by yourself. And that's why actually where the conflict happen is because some feel it's unfair because you come first and you get the better place, but yeah, so with all this process, I mean, we take the risk because then need to be discussed, and we mediate a lot with them. We discuss a lot and explaining. Yeah, we try to decentralize for sure, and they understand. Even they are willing to work cooperatively at the end, even to run the space together. Yeah, maybe now your turn, Laila.
I just wanted to share a few, like a feeling about what you presented and the work that you've been doing. I just want to say that since we met with ruangrupa, since we talked together the first time, and this is very personal, I've checked everything, I've followed all your work, and I became a huge fan
And it's really, like, honestly, it's maybe the first time that I encounter a project or a group of people or artists or that functions in a way that to which I really relate, because I feel that, and this is very independent from Le 18. It's me, how I intervene in Le 18, and each of us have its we do have different ways of intervening in this space, existing. There's a space for us collectively, and then there's different ways of being in the space and different ways of perceiving the space and talking about it. And this is a very personal feeling about everything that you've been developing, from all the practices that have to do with your specific context of like nongkrong, or things like hanging out and just talking, and this becoming a practice, for example, or a resource of knowledge, of acknowledging times that don't have to do with programming in the space, acknowledging also the importance of friendship, because everywhere in documenta there's something talking about being friends. There was something like, I don't know, I can't remember the
Make art, not make friends, not art.
Make friends, not art. Yeah. So yeah, it was just to say that's very comforting as well, to think that there are structures, individuals, a group of people that in another part of the world would think the same way, and that you've been lasting for 20 years, others have been lasting more. Yeah, I don't know exactly how you did that, because many times we've been asking the question, but I don't know, there's nothing really concrete about how you last such a long time. And I think for us here, we're also experimenting this, and we don't have a formula. There are other collectives that are present today and yesterday as well for the program. And I think each of the collectives are trying to find their own models. Of course, the question of Alia was very interesting as well, the question of funding, because it's also a real question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have really a question. I just, and of course, the proposal of documenta, I don't know. It came, and you said it quite well, that it came at a moment after 9 years that it was just the moment for us to reflect on who we are at this time, at this moment, as a group of people. And it didn't feel right just to put up something that did not represent all of us together, how we felt that we want to be represented. So I think it was as simple as that, but it took us a long time to get to that place, and a lot of conversations and ups and downs and misunderstanding and getting together. So I guess this is, it's the collective itself.
Maybe I would like to share a bit on what Leila mentioned. I think how in ruangrupa, I think we, I think which is from I don't know from others, but from me, like personally, which make us stand until now for this long is one is because so we don't have a structure. I mean, like, and everyone, I think we have a space to have a distance from the collective. Let's say we have practice. I mean, I practice individually as an artist. Ade And so sometimes he have his own show, even solo show. I have my own solo show. Reza as well doing DJ. He has a band as well, so sometimes he playing with his band concert, whatever. Leo, I think he's the even now the most busiest and the most rich in ruangrupa because he's so famous doing karaoke. It's so really like the past, I don't know, almost 6-7 years. He's in one night he can do 3-4 karaoke in one night. So like, and he's travel, fly every day, and Instagram he has so 100,000 followers. So that's why he's not in documenta. Even he's not interested in documenta. So because I'm sorry, I have so many appointment in karaoke already, so I cannot join documenta. I mean, he's not interested in documenta. He want to do what his own want to do. It's fine. Yeah. So, but we are still even like you met Leona when he came to opening. He did the karaoke whatever. So he part of it. Sometimes we discuss and then now he has his own collective. He's opening his own collective in his hometown in the island in Sulawesi in Celebes, Riwanua. So he have his own space and he's busy with with his circles in religions, whatever. Also politics, and Indra, he's manager of White Shoes. So his travel concert everywhere now. White Shoes is travel. So yeah, everyone is actually always have a distance. So and there's one thing, and the second, I mean, ruangrupa is very diverse as well. I mean, like we are. What personally I was really after the regime, because during the regime I came from minority where very much oppressed because I'm a part of the minority where my ancestors came from mainland China, and it's mixed with the Indonesian, whatever, married with Indonesian. So I'm really mixed breed, and but during the regime it was even no, it's very much oppressed. No, they are during the 65, lots of Chinese was killed, and you cannot use the letters. No Chinese letters, whatever in public. You have to change your name, even if like 800 years ago my ancestor came. I have now. I'm born there. My mother, my grandfather, even they cannot speak Chinese. They dress like Indonesian. But they have to have a letters that stated that I want to be Indonesian. So I mean, like, even my generation have to do it. But in ruangrupa, I feel that when I joined there is really kind of oasis where no difference, no, it's everyone is the same, and we trust each other so much, and we never did for decision. Let's say we don't never like okay, who's agree, and so we just trust each other, and based on trust and it's open process, come and go, and also we not living through ruangrupa for sure. I mean, we not receive salary, so I have to work as an architect or artist. I don't sell work, but if I sell it, I'm happy because I got money for sure. And to support, and I did a project, maybe like Carlos, I did a project to Ade as well. He did his sometimes he sell works, but also he worked as a cultural ambassador for young, for youth. So so he involved with Jakarta Art Council and so on. So everyone has its own actually supporting system, and that make us more, even I think, more sustained as a collective, because we are not depending and not burdening of the sustainability of the collective itself, you know. So I think that's important, and it's more healthy, I think, as well, because then yeah, you have distance, I think. Then, and, and but of course, ruangrupa is a foundation, so it has, I think, only Ade who was still in the foundation, the legalized as foundation. I think his status as, yeah, his name is still there, with others, which is not 9 of us, but someone from outside who's helping us actually. So yeah, so yeah, only this, and of course we have a account which is collective, so it's not a private account, but it's foundation, so it's collective account, like a normal, I think, everywhere. So, and yeah, maybe to share what Laila said, I think that's what we did in ruangrupa. So and we may be more active as well now in the WhatsApp group. So we always checking each other all the time. And, how are you? I mean, especially now we are split it quite far. Me and Reza here, the rest is there. So we always care each other. How are you? And yeah, with those problems that persist here until now to us, and even they are very much care about us, you know. So that's what how we survive a bit. But I think, I don't know, but here as well, but like in Asia for us, Southeast Asia, but here as well, I believe, because when I feel in Europe is competitive. I mean, you work is really like people are, I don't know, but it's, you really counted by hours, you know, like if you are, I mean, we don't have those culture in Southeast Asia, so even, but here as well, I think you work sometime even, yeah, I mean, like when you like it, or even, you know, so most of the time actually all of us don't have a time for our own career actually. So for sure, to be able in balance with our own practice and the collective practice is hard to say, but of course, I mean, it's about the choice for sure. And for example, personally, I'm quite happy to what I achieve now. Personally, even I'm not, but I'm happy if I can have a small show, whatever. So it's not, I'm not interested as well to be part of it with a famous gallery, whatever, because I never been work even, and or with a big museum with whatever. If I get a chance, it's alhamdulillah. If not, it's okay. It's fine, because with ruangrupa I can as well, you know, have experience collectively everywhere. So I think this balance, of course, you have to sacrifice at least. I mean, you cannot be together. That's for sure. You cannot be together, but yeah, then it's a matter of choice, and yeah, and I choose. I'm happy to be. I mean, with ruangrupa, with collective, then I'm not interested to even. I'm not sad, or that's then I cannot develop my own more, because otherwise in other times I have to find money to live as well. So yeah, so we are work more than the Europeans. I think that's I believe for sure. But it doesn't mean that we are better than them, but we work a lot more, because
I have a proposal since we're planning tomorrow afternoon to continue more informally the conversation, and it's getting a little bit late and we had a very long day. So I would suggest maybe we stop here for now, and everyone is welcome to join us tomorrow in the afternoon from 2 p.m. if you want to take part in more exchanges. And yeah, we can go for dinner and rest for the rest of the night. But
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Shukran.